Hello, this is Dr. Young, and I'm going to go over your week 4 work. This week we're going to talk about staffing management. There's a lot of topics in this week. There's, planning, internal, external recruiting, succession planning, selection testing, recruiting, or I already talked about referral programs, sorry. And so there's a lot to cover. And I just created a class on this one topic for another school, so it's really at the top of my mind right now. Please make sure to review these videos, and this is interesting here as far as Jack Welch, because during the process of he left right when I was working there, and Jeff Immelt took over, which now he's gone, but Jeff Immelt had been groomed a long time for that job before Mr. Welch left. So many companies do this, and some don't do it well enough, and can cause a lot of chaos trying to find a CEO that will fit the culture if you're not developing one internally when the previous CEO is there. So something to consider. And there's a lot of nonprofits and private companies don't do enough succession planning, so make sure to review about that video and find out about that. But excuse me, I still have a little bit of a cold that never goes away. It's probably more the allergies with the weather and all the... So I apologize again for my raspy voice that might be here for a while. So anyway, just go ahead and click on these links and review all the materials. This one talks about company brand, employer brand, and how that's used to make people want to work for that organization, and some companies do that very well. I would say one example in the past and would be Southwest Airlines always made themselves very attractive to flight attendants as compared to other airlines in the same, in their being their competitors. They were much more formal, and Southwest really set itself apart as being more laid back, more exciting, more requiring people to be more outgoing. They wanted people with a lot of personality and enthusiasm, and that was very attractive in an industry that doesn't necessarily promote that. So we're going to go over your assignments. A lot to view, so many videos and things to watch this week. We'll also talk about the job application, and we'll talk a little bit about how social media is used for applicant screening, which is definitely something to debate, as far as whether it's ethical or not. Because many people use their social media, for their off time. So is it fair to scrutinize it for work purposes, for applicant purposes to hire people? So that's a debatable thing, but it is, whether it's debatable or not, it's happening. So Forum 4, you're going to read this case on a fictional college called Hudson College. I'm just uploading it just to make sure that, this is what you'll see. Hopefully you won't have any trouble reviewing it. And so you're going to review this scenario here. And then you're going to answer these questions in the discussion. So basically, what advice would you give Winters if you were Bridges, and how do you connect this advice to the needs of the college, of Hudson College? For this, I want you to make sure that you're analyzing the scenario presented here, and address this thoroughly, because what I've seen, and I know we did another case study in another week, that there was some areas that just weren't thoroughly covered enough in that assignment. So for this one, I just want to make sure to emphasize, make sure that you're specifically outlining what advice you're going to give, and then make sure that that advice connects to the needs of the college, and make sure to state what those needs are. Provide recommendations about how Hudson College can change the culture to place more emphasis on succession planning. And like I said before, succession planning is really developing new leaders in the organization that will fill the spots that will be left by retirement, or even just kind of your average attrition that happens or occurs. Because a lot of times, good leaders will get recruited away. So how will you replace that leader or that critical position in the scenario? In the scenarios that you see here, talk about how you can establish a good, strong pipeline of leaders and critical people in critical positions at Hudson College. What questions or challenges would a talent management strategy address? And then when is a talent management strategy appropriate and when is it not appropriate? So here you're going to talk about, well, if you were to develop a strategy for succession planning, what positions do you think would need to have to be covered by that, and what positions probably wouldn't be? So talk about that. Okay, that's pretty much it for your discussion, and I think that everyone, honestly, the discussion grades in this class are excellent so far. So, I think everyone understands what's required and what's expected on the forum, and I'm not really having much of a concern about that at all. Okay, now for this written assignment, the longest reading of the module is on employer branding. So you're gonna we're gonna discuss this for your written paper, and you're gonna develop an employer brand strategy for a past or current place of employment. Now you can look for examples. I just gave one, but there are so many. You can research, and don't use obviously what's already been on there, but use it for inspiration, what you see on your lecture module, but also do some outside research, because there's many organizations that have a strong employer brand. Okay, so you're using it for your current or past place of employment. So you're focusing on that. You're going to create one for either one, it doesn't matter. You're going to play the role of a consultant hired by your organization. And then you're going to walk it through the employer brand development process. Okay, so here's your step-by-step guide. It's a glass door. So this is your guide. This is what you're going to use to develop it. So again, I'm going to read this to you because you can read it, and I'm sure that I would just read it carefully before starting, and then if you have questions or something's not clear about what you should do, just email me. But the great thing about this is there's examples and tips. So follow these tips and these examples and create one yourself. So your strategy should follow each of the same steps in the document. Each step you want to write about actual actions. So all you're doing is you're going to say, okay, so how can I apply this to my organization? And it gives you an example. So yeah, this is optional reading, and I just discussed that you could use that or for the earlier in the module and the videos for additional guidance. So just don't, you know, I want you to use that as a guide, but I don't want you to just copy that. You know, all of this is a guide. All of this is basically, you can pull from all different sources, but I'm going to be looking for critical application from the model, but to your organization. Because see, your organization is going to be different. They're going to have different considerations for your specific. So that's what I'm going to be looking for, is how you apply it. I don't want to see regurgitated documents that are already there. I'm just looking for the application. But I do want you to use those steps, but then for your organization specifically. And I expect to see, you know, different from each of you. I expect a slightly different approach based on your organization. So you're acting as a consultant, recommending ways the organization can accomplish each steps. But you see, company A, like one of you has company A, one of you has company B. Now, the way that you're going to accomplish each step might be different for company A than it would be for company B. So that is the critical differences I'm going to be looking for when I'm grading all of your papers. Professional writing, of course. And I don't really think there's much of a problem with that. I think that there are some errors in APA format that I'm noticing, for example, and they're very small. For example, if you have a static source that doesn't really change over time and you have a publication date, you don't need to put a retrieval date there. Your reference list should have hanging indents. The reference title should be centered, things like that. Might get you a very tiny deduction, but for the most part, no one's way offline with the APA format. Don't write in the first or second person. And it's in each of the 10 steps, you need to use a heading. Okay, so, you know, what I'm looking for, and again, I'm just going to summarize this, and I know it's probably, I don't mean to sound like a broken record, but all of the tools in here, I'm looking for you to read them and then analyze your company and use them as tools, but don't just repeat information on them. So I hope that makes sense. If you have any questions, let me know, and I'll try to clarify it in a different way. But I mean, basically, I'm looking for the application of the tools and the critical analysis of your organization. So that's about it, really. I've graded your week 2 work. And yeah, if there's any issues or questions about that, let me know. I'm going to grade your work earlier this week. I didn't last week because I went out of town. And but this week it should be graded. I was planning on sitting down and grading it on Wednesday night. So look for week 3 grades at that time. So anyway, if you have any issues, any questions, just let me know. I hope you're enjoying the class so far. If you have any concerns about the class as a whole, please communicate with me and I'll be happy to assist you. I hope these videos are helpful to you as well. You know, it's always, I'm trying to clarify the assignment without giving you the answers or just like telling you what to write or anything like that. But I think that all of you are doing a fantastic job. I mean, the work is excellent. The discussions are great. When I post on your discussions, a lot of times I'll use some other sources or other research or other things to consider, but most of the time, you know, if you have any just kind of a follow-up, you know, questions for more research or expanding on a point. But the way that you're corresponding with each other through the assignments, I mean, I feel like this class is very, you know, interactive, and it seems like you're really interested in the material, and that's the best, you know, that's the best thing I can ask for. So, anyway, Just let me know if I can help you in any way, and I hope you all have a great week, and I hope it doesn't snow anymore. I don't know if it's snowing where you are, but it keeps snowing a little here, and if I know a lot of you are in West Virginia, so I don't know. I don't know if you're tired of it, but I am. I'm hoping for spring soon. So have a great week, and I look forward to hearing from you in the discussions.